Hey, what's up, everybody? We are still continuing to pump to the upside. Where are we going to find resistance? Well, in my opinion, it's starting to look like we're getting a little bit of a resistance here, but that's okay because when you zoom out and look at this on the line chart, every now and then I like to look at the line chart just to kind of declutter all of the candles and just look at it objectively from a line perspective. I mean, we have a beautiful one, two, three, four, five. We perfectly nailed the bull market support band both times, by the way. You can't see things are a little bit different when you're on the line chart, but we did hit it both times. And both times we got a significant bounce. So what I'm looking for now in the price of total 3, which is basically all the altcoins, and we'll jump into Bitcoin in a moment, is to get above the retracement from this recent move down. So this recent move down obviously was important because we got that double test. This move back up is actually the most critical because this is going to determine if the bottom is in. So I don't think it's going to continue going and just going and going, right? I think we will get a pullback in here. I would actually like to see a pullback. If this is a wave 1, we want to see a wave 2, and then we can have that wave 3 take out the top. But what I like about it is this bounce is actually pretty strong. If I put a Fibonacci retracement up here, and I take it right there, we perfectly hit the 702 Fibonacci retracement. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get above that either now or on a pullback. So a couple things that can happen if this is truly the low, which it's, the more time goes, the more it's looking more probable that that's the case. And we'll discuss why in a moment. But first, we're right at the 702. So to me, either we're going to get an ABC pullback, right? Come back down. And then what I would like to see is another 5 waves to the upside, breaking above this high. If we can get something like that and then come back down and hold, this area as support, then it's going to look even more probable that the low is in. And then we can start, setting our targets to, this upper, basically looking out into the horizon, seeing a good possibility that the bottom is in and that we're going to break this top. So, we have a really nice looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what's even more important is the bullish divergence we see that has been created. So this is also very important. So number 1, we have an A, B, and C. Number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave C. Number 3, we have divergence between the 4th and the 5th on the RSI. So you can see this is a low making a lower low. This is a low making a higher low. So the RSI is diverting from the price, or I should say the price is diverting from the relative strength, which is good. That's what we want. Now, again, I do see some hidden bullish or hidden bearish divergence. So from this top down, and we're basically meeting up with here. So I kind of want to see the RSI come back down with an ABC pullback. So if we can get something like that, then we can get a nice pump to the upside. Now, if we continue pumping to the upside, that's fine. That's actually even better. We would just still want another pullback to hold that zone. But to me it seems like, we probably need a little bit of a pullback here. On the smaller time frame, and we'll get into that, it actually looks like it needs a little bit of a pump on the microstructure, and we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, I just wanted to emphasize here on the line chart how nice it's looking so far. So looking at the price of Bitcoin, we had a pretty substantial pump. I mean, this pump got us all the way back to this previous breakdown area, which is a good sign. So what we want to see again for Bitcoin is something similar to what, for example, Theta did, right? Because so what did Theta do? Well, Theta created this, descending triangle. And I'm not just saying Theta, but a lot of coins. I'm just using Theta as an example. Many, 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 many coins have done exactly what Theta has done, which is basically coil up here, break down, hit the bull market support band, come back up, find resistance, then come down, make a higher low, right? So if that's the case, then let's look back at Bitcoin. So let's see if we have something similar here. We have the triangle, right? We have the breakdown. We barely came in with like 0.5% of hitting the bull market support band. We came all the way up and we took out this resistance, right? We took out the resistance. Now, with all fairness, Bitcoin didn't have as much, movement back to the upside versus Theta. Basically, Theta, it took a lot more, and just all the altcoins, because they fell so much stronger and so much deeper with this massive liquidation event, which is another reason, a point for the bulls, why the probability of the correction being over. But basically, it took quite a bit of momentum to get back up here. So that's probably why we stalled out. Now with Bitcoin, you can see Theta, and the alts are leading, because right, the whole altcoin market fell down to the bull market support band while Bitcoin was still up here. So now that Bitcoin fell down here, we got the pump, right? And we actually broke these two areas over here, which is a very, very, very good sign. And we're going to talk about the weekly candle as well. So now that we got that, looking back at Theta, what did Theta do next? Right? It came up here. First of all, it didn't break this, but it came up here, and then what did it do? It came all the way back down and made a higher low, testing the bull market support band again. So if that's the case, then we go back to Bitcoin and we could say, well, maybe we might get something similar like that, where the price comes all the way back down. Doesn't have to come all the way down, but at least some type of three-way pullback, right? Hitting the bull market support band, because the bull market support band, by the time we pull back, if we pull back, which is very likely, then the bull market support band is going to be a lot higher, which means we don't have to take out this low, which means we get the best of both worlds. We don't have to take out the low, number one, and number two, we get to officially test it, right? So then what did Theta do next? Now it's starting to pump back to the upside. So if you go translate that back to Bitcoin, right, we pull back and now we start to pump back to the upside, right? So hopefully when we do get the pullback and we do break, we do have this follow through momentum, this is the wave right here that's going to really tell the story, because we really need this wave to break this high, and preferably this high. Then we can start flagging out and then continue on our way. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin. So the other way that could happen, and it could totally happen this way as well, because if I take a line here, we broke above this. I'll put another line here, and we broke above this. Look at that. Here's our support, support, right? We broke through it. Now it's resistance. But look what happened. We sliced right through that resistance like a katana. If you don't know what a katana is, it's a Japanese sword, basically a samurai sword. Um, so, we sliced through that pretty nicely. So what we want to see now, right, if that's the case and we did break above this, right, because when you look at theta, and when I say theta, I'm talking about all the altcoins, they really didn't get to break this here. But the reason why is because it fell so much more that, the momentum pretty much stalled out, which is fine, which is actually a plus for altcoins and Bitcoin. So what we can see is instead of coming all the way back down, basically maybe we pull back just a little bit and then we pump a little bit more and then we start to flag out in here. That would actually be even better, right? And then we can break out. And then what that would create, right, is some type of shoulder, head, and then a shoulder. So we have an inverse head and shoulders pattern here, right? So when you look at that, it looks pretty amazing. And we're going to get into the small time frame, but real quick, look at this. This is the example of what we want to see. So now the example, right, I've showed this before, but look, now it's starting to mature. So, basically, let me actually do it like this. So here's our triangle, right? We coiled up, we break down, we hit the bull market support band, right? So then what happens is, let me remove that. We come with a very strong bounce to the upside. And that's similar to what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin, a pretty nice move to the upside. So then this wave actually matches up with that previous breakdown wave. So now let's go back and see if that's the case, where we stalled out at. So I'll put a little line right here. So that's where it's at. So take a mental screenshot of that and look at this. Look at that. So we're right there. I mean, it's basically the same thing. So here's the line, right? This is that area. So I'm going to draw the line right there. So basically that's where we're at. And we're actually, if I zoom out a little bit, we're actually breaking above it, right? We're actually breaking above it. Now, with all fairness, the candle or the line, the 8-hour chart hasn't closed yet. It can easily come back down, but basically it's looking really, really good. So now let's go back and look again and see what happens next. Because remember, this is a fractal. We have the rise up, we have the triangle type of look. It's not technically a triangle. I'm just, it's sort of wedging in. It's more so an ABC. But just the structure of it, right? And then we had the breakdown. We nailed it. So now let's go back and look. Okay, so here we are. Here's basically where we are right now, right? This is the fractal. So let's zoom in and see what happened here. Let me put the line right about there at the very tip. You could see we actually didn't come and break it. So that still might be the case now, but we can see what happened. So what happened was we actually had an expanded flat right here. You can see the price came down A, it went up B, it took out this top, and it came down for C. And then bam, that was the moment where we're like, okay, it's on. It's go time, right? Obviously, we had a little bit of a correction here. We flagged out, but that's to be expected. And this is a good opportunity for DCA opportunities, right? Because it's still like, a lot of people are hesitant right now because when, you have all this resistance right here, you break all the way down, you come all the way back up, and you test it as resistance, you can keep coming down, right? But since, we're in a bull market, this was in a bull market, this example here, that wasn't the case. Now, this happened prior This actually happened above the all-time high, which gave it a little bit more confidence. This move right here was actually the move before the all-time high. So, okay, let's get back to business here. So we can see after this little dip right here, we had this big pump to the upside. And then we continued to, continue to run up, right? So here's what we'll do. We'll take a Fibonacci retracement from the very tip of this, and we'll put it all the way down. And basically, we almost got to the 702. So now let's go see what Bitcoin's going to do. And at the same time, what we can do, and just for a visual representation, is take a bars pattern. So here we go. I mean, so this is kind of what it looks like here. It's not perfect. Let's see. But basically, we want to see a little bit of a pullback here. So now I'm going to take a Fibonacci from this line here all the way back down. And look at that. We're actually above the 702, right? We're actually above the 702. So, basically for the last, since back over here, we've been talking about the possibility of the price coming down to backtest the bull market support band, especially when we had this dump here. When we had this dump here and we had this chop to the upside, that was sort of the signal for me to stay, hey, we're probably going to have a correction. Then we had the A wave. Then we talked about, we're probably having an ABC. I laid out a few different possibilities, one being a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. The other one, obviously, being an ABC. And then also the basically emphasizing how important it is to come down and test the bull market support band. And it's actually, been pretty spot on so far. So let's see if we can continue to go. Now, remember, this is not financial advice. Anything I say is not financial advice. It could be totally wrong, and we can go to zero. Always know that. So, just to understand. Actually, if you know Alessio Rastani, shout out to him. He actually put a video out today. I don't really follow him too much, but I happened to catch his video, and basically he showed a video of his Discord like a week ago or so, basically saying what we've been saying publicly. So I find that kind of interesting, and that's good though, because that's confluence. I mean, this guy's he's a OG. I mean, he's been around a while. He's a very good trader, so very successful trader. So when I saw that, I'm like, yep, we're sort of, lining up with our ideas here. So that was nice to hear this morning of what he thought about that. Now, what we can also see here is thinking about it bearishly. We can also see the possibility of us coming back down. Number one, hitting the bull market support band on the lower end, or number two, back testing 52K. But I just don't really see it now. Like I've been saying, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, it could totally happen here. This is why it's important for what happens here. So, for example, if we get stuck right here, which the previous fractal did as well, but if we come all the way back down and do something like this and come down, then it's obviously going to deviate away from the fractal. But even if we did do that, I still would think, okay, this is a good area here for a nice pump to the upside. At that point, if we did come down here, I would strongly suggest we would probably create some type of base in here, right? Some type of accumulation pattern before the next leg up. And then that would be, a nice rounded correction here. So, I mean, that's still yet to be the case. That can totally happen. But the more we progress, like each day that goes by, it's getting more probable that this is a very strong bounce, right? I mean, if you look at this over here, when we broke here, I said there's a possibility that this could be the low, simply because we took out this low and we grabbed all the liquidity, right? We didn't have a full breakdown, but at the end of the day, we did have 5 waves, so it was needed for a pullback. But this pullback wasn't very strong. You could see, it was pretty corrective. This pullback, it's a lot stronger, right? We can see some good momentum here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the candles, just so we can see. Turn the lights on a little bit. It takes a minute for your eyes to adjust, because when you kind of look at it, it looks a little, your eyes got to adjust to it for a minute. But yeah, we can see, look at this. We have a bullish engulfing candle. We have another candle, and we're just continuing to make strides. And what I said yesterday, let's go back to the daily chart. When I put a video out, I said, what's the goal for today? I said, today's goal is to break above this close. So the bottom of this close, or the bottom of these candles, I should say, not the close, but the bottom of these bodies, that's the goal. But not only we did that, I said, if we're lucky, we can get this as well. And look at that. We closed above this body low, and we closed above this body low. So here's our close right here. So we closed above all of that. And now, as a result of that, the following daily candle, which is right here, which is on a Saturday, we are actually continuing to pump. So we have about less than 4 hours for this candle to close. So here's the interesting part. Will this daily candle close above this close? So that's going to be the big tail. So let me move this line right here. I'll put that right there. So that's the line we would like to close. If we don't close, it's not a big deal, but that's that would be nice to see. So let's zoom in now and see what we can find. Let's go close to the 1 hour chart. Look at that. And I'm actually going to pause the video for 1 or 2 minutes. I got to go check on my trade. I actually took a long somewhere on this close here. So let me go back, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so we can see this move down. Actually, let me zoom out, and I can kind of show you what I did if you're interested. I sometimes I do little scalping trades, right? I'm holding it for less than maybe an hour, right? These little scalps. They don't pay much, but why not? Little sniper moves. The big money, I don't recommend doing that, by the way, unless you're you know what you're doing. But for me, like I've always said, 90% of what I do is hodl investing. That's where your big chunk is going to come in for your success. The 10% is used for trades, and inside that 10% is between, I would say 7 or 8% is used for swing trades, right? Maybe trading instead of the microstructure, maybe trading like each wave. So these sub waves in here, right? Or even a swing trade can be like, you see this flat ABC. This was a good trade. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a 3-wave pullback, and we broke the top. This was a good trade right here. So you can trade the 3rd wave, or you can even be a little more ballsy and trade the 5th wave as well, which is always, is good to see when you don't have a small 3rd wave, right? If you have a somewhat of a smaller 3rd wave, then a lot of times you can get an extended 5th wave, or a 5th wave that creates 3 drives to a high. I'll probably end up doing like members videos if anybody's interested in sort of explaining the the strategy and really how to make money in the market. Not just kind of going over price action, but kind of doing unique things like maybe selling strategies or buying strategies, trading strategies, right? Just kind of go over what I've learned over the last, I would say, 5 years. I've been in crypto since 2017, so about 7 years, and I would say really been learning how to trade over the last 7 years, but really honing in my skills over the last 5 years. And the more you do it, the more practice, right, the better you become. And it's not for everybody, right? Most people don't want to deal with the stress of having to trade, right? And if you are stressing, you're probably using too much money. But the best thing I can recommend, which I can't recommend because it's not advice, but is to just hodl, just DCA, right, and hodl. And that's all you got to do. So let's get back to it. This move here, right? Like I was saying on the daily chart, let's go back here. The goal here is to close above this high. So let's see if we can do that. Now, I would expect us to have a pullback, right? Because when we looked at that fractal, we had a nice pullback. So I would like to see a little pullback in here, right? If we can start flagging out in here a little bit, that would be a nice move to the upside. So now let's zoom back in. There's a few things. Stay tuned because there's a few things I definitely want to show that I haven't shown before. I don't recall. But one of them definitely is the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders, right? We can see how this move came up, right? We had a pretty big head here. We came all the way up, met the resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. We come all the way down. Let's almost tag the bull market support band. We came all the way back up, right? And now we find ourselves in that same resistance. So if we can develop some type of shoulder here, that would be a nice inverse head and shoulders, right? So we can finally talk about that. So the measured move approximately for this inverse head and shoulders pattern is probably going to line up pretty closely with the fractal that we just shared. So let me stick that right about there, ballpark. So what that would do is actually get us very, very close to the all-time high. It would actually break this area according to the measured move. Now, it could be a little bit different on certain exchanges, a little bit different if you're on log scale, but that's a pretty big head right there compared to the shoulder. So I'm not too sure if it would go that high. I would feel more comfortable saying about there, about 70, 71K. So let's put a line right at 71, right about there. That's kind of where I would anticipate the next move to go once this is completely done. Now, again, there's two ways this wave can shape out to be. It can come all the way back down with a steep 2, come back up, or it can kind of flag out in here, which I would rather have, and then pull back up. So yeah, it's still looking very strong. So now let's look even closer. Let's look at the microstructure in this wave. And let's start with a 20-minute chart. So, I mean, so far we have what appears to be 5 waves. I mean, it looks like to me, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? This could be wave 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then when I zoom in even more, the 5th wave, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have an A, and now we're coming up for B, and we're probably going to get C. But it can turn, I mean, this is speculation. This is just an idea. I'm not sure if that's the way it goes. The microstructure is always a little bit challenging because it's more, it's much tougher to gauge the smaller time frame than it is the higher time frame. But I often, if you want to learn how to trade, I often recommend looking at the smaller time frame, looking at the 5-10 minute chart. Not necessarily trading, but just looking at the chart, seeing how the patterns form, maybe do a demo account to see how you fare in that, if you're interested. So we see this pullback here, and now it seems like we're retracing. Now this could either be a 1-2 and we're going to continue pumping up to the upside, or this is an A, B, and we're going to get C, which can turn into another complex A, B, C. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It can get more complex and turn into a bigger A, B, C, right? Sort of like a flagging out process before we break out. I would guess that this would be the high. Maybe we get one more little high, but I would guess we're getting close simply because, again, we're back right at resistance. And if you're interested in that little scalping trade I did, I can show you here. So I was actually looking at the 2-minute chart. And I was looking at, look how nice that correction looked. We had this impulse to the upside, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the fifth wave barely took out the fourth wave. So then we had this 1, 2 here. And I believe I can't remember, somewhere in here, I got in and let it rip. And I took my profit. So I didn't make a lot, right? I think I made, let's see. I made $27 on that trade. I could have made a lot more, but I only used 5x leverage. And it was only a $10 move. So I got in at 63,632, and then I sold it at 63,642, right? So, it was, not bad for like holding it for 10 minutes. Hey, I made $30 in about 5 or 10 minutes. Not too bad. Back when I was working at my job, I made about $20, $21 an hour. An hour, right? So, hey, $27 in 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'll take it. But, again, you always want to mitigate your risk. Depending on the size of your account, you really only want to risk maybe 2%, right? I would start off at 1%. So if you have, $500, you can really only risk $5. And now a lot of people, psychologically, it's very hard to do that. But if you can turn $500 into, $10,000, then that's how you just slowly build and grow. So you have to find a unique trading strategy that's up to you. I wasn't really a scalper, but I like to do it every once in a while. I'm more of a swing trader, not a day trader, because I like my sleep at night, so I don't have to worry about having trades open unless they're in a swing position with moderate leverage. But for me, spot trading is actually the best place to start, where you have no leverage. You're just, spot trading for fun. I know Coinbase, you can buy Coinbase One, I think, and it's $30 a month, and you get no trading fees. So maybe that might be worth trying, so you don't have to deal, because Coinbase is a ripoff. A lot of the exchanges are ripoffs. If you buy like $200, $500 worth of crypto on Coinbase, or even Uphold or whatever, they charge you like $3.99, $4.99, $5.99. Sometimes you ever buy like crypto on Coinbase or whatever, and let's say you bought like $200 or $300, and then when you look, let's say you bought $300, and then you buy it, and then instantly now you only have $292. It's like, well, wait a minute, what happened to my $8? the fee was only $3 or $4, but yet I spent 300, but now I only have 292, like literally in 2 seconds after you bought it. So it's kind of funny how that works. I don't know why that is, but it's frustrating. So if you're buying and selling a lot, probably the best choice, or just use a Binance account or some other exchange that you can trust. So anyway, I took my profit. Why? Well, because we have three waves, right? I don't know if this thing's going to break out. And why am I sharing this? Just sharing it as an example, right? I think this is a good learning experience. Just as an example, we came down here, we built a base, right? We had an inverse head and shoulders. I didn't even take the measured move, but I'm pretty certain that it got close to it. It even exceeded it, right? Actually, I should have took a short at the same time. But essentially, let's see what the retracement was on that. I didn't even look. Look at that. We came all the way up and we hit 702. So that was a good area. So I'm glad I kind of paused the video to take my profit. So I just closed out the whole trade. So now I want to see what happens. Maybe, right? Maybe this turns into 5, right? I mean, you could kind of say that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Let's see if we get an ABC pullback. We can back test this low and then maybe continue higher. But honestly, we can either make one more high. A lot of things can happen in the retracement levels, or we can come back down. Remember, this is the 2-minute chart, so who cares, right? It doesn't mean anything. I'm just showing it as an example of how really price works on a smaller time frame, and it works exactly the same on a larger time frame, right? We can see, and this is kind of what I'm expecting, what THETA has done, right? Like you can see the big bull market, right? You can see the bear market. You can see the base down in here, and then we break out. And here's our breakout, right? And we're in the middle of the retracement. Now, if I go to like THETA or any altcoin, let me zoom out to the 2-day chart. You can kind of see the same thing, right? Just on a much, much, much bigger scale. So we just looked at the 2-minute chart, right? So here's the 2-day chart, and we have a big bull run. We came down, we had a base, we had the inverse head and shoulders, right? We broke out, right? I think we met the measured move of it. Yep, we met the measured move. We even exceeded it a little bit. But the thing is, we didn't really get deep into the retracement levels yet. So, with the price of THETA, when we were back over here on the bull market support band, we were talking about DCAing. We got up here, started making divergences on the smaller time frame. We met the measured move. It was time to take some profits, right, on the swing trade. So now we had a 55% dump all the way back down to the bull market support band, right? We had a pump to the upside, and now another higher low. So down in, I would say, anywhere in the vicinity around the bull market support band is a good area to dollar cost average, right? So basically that's kind of the example I wanted to share. So let's zoom in to the 4-hour chart, and we can start to see we're getting some resistance in here. Now, the altcoins do look a little bit weaker, right? I mean, Bitcoin happened to get back up here. Altcoins are still, well, maybe not. I think right here was the area where Bitcoin stalled out as well. So, I mean, the altcoins, we only have 3. 1, 2, 3. So I would like to see a little flag here and us to get another 5th wave to the upside. So that's kind of where we're at. Now let's go back to Bitcoin, because anything positive, again, it's all about the altcoins, right? So why do I focus a lot on Bitcoin? Because that is the key for the altcoin success. Now let's go it's Saturday, right? So tomorrow's going to be Sunday, which means we have a weekly close. So let's look at the weekly candle and see what we got. I like these pumps towards the end of the week, right? If we're going to pump, I don't want it to pump really on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I really like it to pump more so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That way we can have more of a chance at a better weekly close. So look at that. Oh man. Wow. Look at that. Look at that weekly candle. That is an amazing bullish hammer candle. That is huge. That is a beautiful hammer candle. Look at this thing. That thing is crazy. We came all the way down and it looks like we hit it. Did we hit it? And then on the weekly chart, we did hit it. Look at that. I didn't even, that must be like a glitch or something on the other time frames. But yeah, we technically did hit it on this here. That's kind of interesting. After all, the bull market support band is a weekly indicator. So I would trust the weekly indicator over the smaller time frame. Right? So we did hit it. Look at that. We did hit it. You can't really draw when you zoom in like that. But yeah, I mean, that's nice. We got that hit. I'm kind of speechless right now because I don't know what to think. Because we've been saying, let me zoom in. Because when you zoom in, I guess we did, but when you extend the line out, right, it doesn't look like we did unless the lines appear, but that wouldn't really make sense. So it's kind of up for debate on that. I guess I would lean towards more the weekly chart because it is a weekly indicator. And we perfectly nailed it. I mean, we went below it. Wow, that's insane. I didn't even realize that. So we did it. We did it. Now that makes me really think the low is in. Number one, because we hit it. Number two, because we have a massive bullish hammer candle. Number three, the weekly chart's about to end tomorrow. So, man, that's insane. Now, we could always come back and retest it. But I don't think sometimes we can, we can come like, for example, look at this. This was a hammer candle here. It was red and it was coming off of it was in the middle of a correction. This hammer candle is coming at the end of the C wave and it's coming off the bull market support band. So see how this candle here, it came back and it retested some of this wick. So that could totally happen where you have a second candle right here that opens up and we can come all the way down and retest 50% of that candle before making a nice candle back to the upside, right, with a tail at the bottom. So, yeah, I did not know that. So now when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And it looks really, really nice. It looks like a very beautiful bull flag here. Something like that. So yeah, it's looking good. I mean, you can exclude all the wicks too and just put it right there. So looks very good. And what this also looks like, so look at this chart right here. This is the weekly chart, and I have a fractal for you. Basically a candle fractal. So look at this. Here's XRP. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look, you see it? You see the hammer candle right there? Look how big that thing is. Right there. And that's exactly what we see what Bitcoin did just on the weekly chart, right? So this is the 2-day chart. We had obviously, the pump up, and then we had the bull flag, and this candle right here perfectly nailed the bull market support band on the price of Bitcoin with this big long topping, this long hammer candle, right? We have a very bullish hammer candle. But here, what I really wanted to show you is look at this. What happened after the hammer candle, that guy right there. And what's happening now? This guy right here. So this candle is trading above this candle, which is trading above this candle, right? So if we take that same idea, then we should, right, Bitcoin, by theory, right, by that look, based off that candle, right, we should have, go to the weekly, we should have a positive week next week. I would expect, if I had to make a guess, I would expect Sunday and Monday to be kind of corrective. And then I would really like to see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday be more impulsive. And then maybe by Friday, Saturday, we cool off. So I would think next week would be a positive week. Now, that's contingent on, let's go back to the 4 hour. That's contingent on us holding up here. So let's see, where's the end of the week? So next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, I think it's the 13th, which is Mother's Day. So all the mothers out there, hopefully you gals get really rewarded with a nice Bitcoin pump. So that would be nice. So there's the weekly chart. There's the weekly line. So just for fun, I don't know if this is going to happen, but just for fun, I want to see something like this and then a pump into the weekend and then kind of pull back, which sets us up for next week. Something like that. That would be very nice to see. We have a shoulder, we have a head, we have a shoulder. Right here's the measured move. We come up, we meet the measured move right about there, right? And then we sort of, run into the resistance right here. Because look at this. It's basically like a top and then a double top. But the difference now is when we come back and challenge this top, if we challenge it, right? It's all if. Then we're going to have much more of a momentum swing, more of a slingshot. Why? Because Bitcoin got to charge its batteries down at the bull market support band. So, yeah, I'm really liking this chart. I'm really liking it here. It's looking really good. So now let's switch gears and talk about some altcoins. But real quick on the smaller time frame, again, we possibly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is finished. We could get one more high. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops in here. It's okay if we correct. Again, according to that fractal we shared, we actually want it to correct right now before, breaking above. So let's just skim through some weekly candles here. Here's Theta Fuel, the weekly candle. Is it breaking above? Yeah, look at that. So if Theta Fuel ends where it is now, it'll be the highest weekly candle since, where is it at? Since back over in May of 2022, right? So 2 years ago, it'll be the highest weekly close in 2 years. That is very significant. And look at Theta Fuel, by the way. I mean, it is not even... doing what the other coins are doing. It is continuing to make higher highs. So it's looking very good. And I did talk about it. If you want more on Theta Fuel, check out the video I put out yesterday. There's a nice fractal. Actually, it's right here. You can see Bitcoin here, right? We come down, come back up, and then we go into this ascending channel. Same thing with Theta Fuel. We come down, come back up in this big ascending channel. Now, if Bitcoin has a good week next week, we could see some good momentum in the alts. Now, once Bitcoin breaks out, this is important. I think the alts are going to not do as well, right? Because when Bitcoin moves, right, it's Bitcoin. But then once it starts to slow down, that's when the altcoins catch up. So usually Bitcoin is the first mover. It's the one that really, starts the momentum. The altcoins might be still below their highs. They might be still in the retracement levels, but that's to be expected. Look at Litecoin. Litecoin is, we tested the bull market support band where we have a bullish hammer candle right off and on the bull market support band. We're still holding above it. We're going to close above it on this week. QNT, we are below it, but we have a nice looking candle. Not too bad. XLM looks pretty good too. We have a bullish hammer candle on the weekly. Let's see, XRP. XRP, we have a bullish engulfing candle. That's also got a nice tail on it. Actually, that's the market cap. Let's look at the price. Yeah, the price looks good. Look at this. The weekly chart is going to close above, hopefully, 52 cents. So all we need to do is close above that line. That's all we need to do. Close above that line. Done. Boom. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good. I might put another video out today. I got this information out. I might look at XRP and the smaller time frames. So, I mean, we are at a very critical area here for XRP. We really need it to get above the 618. I'm sure there's divergence all over the chart here. Oh, not really. We're not making any bearish divergence. Oh, one thing I did forget to share is look at this. This is very important right here. So go to the Bitcoin chart. I can't believe I forgot this. On the 3-day chart, we have a bullish engulfing candle that's overtaking the previous. That's number one, but also look at this. This is the big thing. This is sort of the big thing I really wanted to say. I wanted to say it yesterday, but I forgot. I almost forgot again. We have hidden bullish divergence, massive hidden bullish divergence. So look at this. Here's our low all the way up to the top, right? But their hidden bullish divergence is here all the way down here. It could be flat or down, right? So we're at a higher price with a lower RSI, right? Here's a lower price, higher RSI. Higher price, lower RSI. Or even if it's equal to it, it's still the same, right? So we have massive hidden bullish divergence. That is very important. And then also, if I just do this, let's see, the trend line, just curious here, we appear to be breaking above it. So we had a little bit of a fake out. We came back down, and now we're breaking above it. We could come all the way back down and retest it. That would be nice to see. And I think there's another one right here. So, yeah, it's looking pretty bullish. We're right at the 50, right? We're at the middle, basically the middle of the RSI. At the same time, on the smaller time frames, we're at resistance. So I would expect maybe one more little high, or better yet, just have a correction, flagging out. That brings me back to total 3. Look at the altcoins. Look at the hidden bullish divergence here. So we have a line here all the way down, right? And then now look at this, all the way up, right? We caught the trend line. So that, my friends, is beautiful. And that, my friends, been talking about this expanded flat here, ABC, hitting the bull market support band, coming back up, making a higher low. And then the important thing is when we made the higher low on total 3, look at the candle that set it off right there. The candle shape's important. It's somewhat of a hammer candle, right? We basically dipped our toes into the water and we quickly accelerated to the upside. So total 3, the daily chart closed above here, and now this candle is actually closing above here. So it's looking pretty good. Let's look at the weekly chart. the weekly chart, wow, look at that. Beautiful hammer candle, beautiful base, right? We're making a beautiful base on the weekly chart off the bull market. This is like everything you could ask for in a nice chart, right? It could still end up in disaster, right? But I'm just saying, it's looking super, super, super good. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. We have a beautiful base. We're wicking off the bull market support band. I mean, this is nice. So I would expect us to have a retracement. So let me put this here. I'm going to put it all the way down here. So we want to see, I mean, we really technically already had a retracement to the 618, but we really want to see price get up here. So here's the thing. You know, we're not completely out of the woods until we break this top. So two possibilities that can happen. Number one, we get up here, we play around, we break out. That would be the ideal part. Number two, this turns into a bigger ABC, and then we go. That would be terrible, but hey, it is what it is, right? Because here's point A, here's point B, and if you're in the middle of those 2 points, that's often, right, when you're up here, it's pretty easy to gauge. I wouldn't say easy, but, you know, it's more easy. When you're down here, it's also easier to gauge. But when you're in the middle of a retracement level, that's where people start to reduce their risk, you know, because they're not too sure. The good thing about it is, how can you tell? Well, number one, if we develop a base down here, that's a good indicator that we have more support, right? Because what I can do is I can extend it out. So if we were to get rejected up in here, we have one more chance to get it right. We come back down and we back test this area before accelerating back to the upside. So we actually have two chances, right? So it'll be very interesting to see. If I had to guess, I would guess, yeah, we do break out. I would say we do break out. Now, anything can happen, not financial advice, but it's looking pretty good. This is what we've been talking about for several weeks now, and it's playing out nicely. So let's go. And if you made it this far, please like the video. It really helps a small channel like mine continue to grow. You know, I'm not in it for likes and views and things, but I'm really in it to help people and to really give people the confidence in themselves, because I was, you know, when I started out and I lost a lot, I had no confidence. I surrounded myself with some good people. So now I find it in myself to pay it forward. I would like to get my ideas out there in a common sense way, where, you know, it goes over a lot of information, but I think, you know, taking the easy route isn't always the best way. You know, it takes a lot of work. So longer videos, a lot of people don't have time. I get it. I totally get it. But for more people who are serious about trying to understand the thought process, you know, it's more suited for that. I am looking for some moderators, potentially, to do the timestamps and things like that. So if you want to help out with some timestamp areas, I don't really use them because I like to jump around a lot. That's just kind of my style. But, you know, as the channel matures, so will I, and things will, you know, hopefully get better. But I just want to let you know, I appreciate everybody witnessing history. We are witnessing history right now. So this is an amazing time. Very, very chaotic time, right? Anything can happen. Always know that. Anything. We're in election year. So anything. The deep state can pull the trigger at any moment and just blow up everything. But at the same time, maybe it doesn't. So, you know, that's why even if they do blow it up, I'm still a hodler, because that's just, I mean, crypto is an anti-debt instrument. Whatever game they play, we play ours, right? So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you want to drop a comment below and you can let me know what altcoins you want me to take a look at on the next rapid fire. I'm trying to get one out soon. I didn't get one out because I didn't get too many comments on coins, but we'll see how that goes. But if you want to smash that like button, leave a comment, and if you want to support the channel, you can always do so. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.